Hi, my name's Leah, Salmon, the Naturally You Coach, and welcome to this free talk, which is called How to Have a Delicious, Fun, and Healthy Holiday this year. Thank you so much for joining me for this talk. I hope you learn and are motivated and inspired to make changes this year, this holiday season, so that you can stick to your health goals. You can make a commitment to continuing health goals that you may have already started, but you can do so in a way that doesn't make you feel isolated socially, that you're not doing it in a way where you're sacrificing having a delicious and fun holiday that you're maybe used to celebrating. You're still going to have a delicious holiday, a fun holiday, but you're going to be able to do it with the practical steps that I share with you today in a naturally healthy way. So thanks for taking the time out to listen to this information. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a bit about me, who I am, and how I got to where I am today. Holiday highs and lows, so the great stuff and the not so great stuff about this time of year and about the holidays. Keys to healthy holiday success, your healthy holiday toolkit. Some holiday gift ideas, and this is actually, it may seem a little bit off topic, but it is really integral part of the whole holiday experience and keeping naturally healthy on all levels around this time of year, and what you can do next. Now, a bit about me. If this is the first time you've heard me do a talk, or the first time that you're hearing from me, my name is Leah Salmon, like I said, the Naturally You Coach. My journey into natural health and wellness and healthcare started when I was about 11 years old, and I decided that I wanted to become a vegetarian because of all the wonderful things that I had heard about it at that time. Even as an 11-year-old, I decided it was definitely something that I wanted to do. I didn't want to eat animal products anymore, or animal flesh anymore. I wasn't actually a vegan, I was a vegetarian for a while. Well, I was a vegan for a very short amount of time, but I was predominantly a vegetarian, but I was what I refer to as a junk food vegetarian. So as long as it didn't have meat or poultry or fish in it, I would be eating it. So my diet mainly consisted of junk food and soya. I ate loads of white pasta and cheese and, like vegetarian cheese, but it was still dairy. And loads of soy products, ridiculous amounts of soy products, and just chocolate, just literally junk food. Very little fruit, very little vegetables, but I barely remember having salads. And this pretty much lasted my whole teenage years, and in my late teenage years, I developed a condition called metrorrhagia, which is a menstrual condition where you bleed between your periods, and it's predominantly hormone imbalances that cause it. So after doing I had the condition for about 2 years. I was too scared to go to the doctors because I was scared that they would either drug me or medicate me or tell me there was nothing wrong with me. When I did finally pluck up the courage to go to the doctors because it wasn't going away and I didn't know how to stop it, they basically sent me on my way. So I decided that I was going to work out a way to get rid of the problem myself, and motivated by one of my greatest teachers, Dr. Malachi York, who has always taught that our ancestors and connecting back to nature and living the way that our ancestors did, connected with nature and in a natural way, was always the best way to heal yourself. So I started studying herbs, nutrition, aromatherapy, and those types of things. And then I changed my diet. I put a herbal blend together for myself and an aromatherapy blend together for myself, and managed to reverse the condition that I had, which made me completely fall in love with the power of herbs and oils and foods and natural health care. I was completely unemployable at the time as well. I was terrible at being an employee, never turned up on time, I hated being told what to do. So I decided I was going to become a nutritionist. And as a nutritionist, I do what unfortunately a lot of nutritionists and coaches and fitness instructors do, which is applied a very much one-size-fits-all approach to everybody that wanted to work with me. So when I was eating a particular diet and it worked for me, that was the diet I told everybody that they should be eating. And the three things that would normally happen is some people would get great results, other people would pretty much get no results, and other people would actually get worse from the diet that I was recommending them. And this continued for a little while until I found a concept called metabolic typing and a concept called biochemic individuality, which basically means that not everybody needs the same balance of nutrients. Different bodies need different balance of nutrients to fit their biochemistry and give them the fuel that's right for them. This was a massive eureka moment, because it meant that I was finally able to work out why the diet I was recommending to some people worked, it didn't work for other people, and it made other people even worse than they were. But it cleared up a lot of the confusion that I was experiencing around nutrition. So when I started using metabolic type and I became trained as a metabolic typist, I was finally able to help people much more specifically with their food, and the success that people would get when they started with the diet plans I was giving them just increased massively, which was great for me as a coach. I felt like I was really able to help people. But what also happened is I realized, even though I was calling myself a holistic health coach, I was only focusing on people's food. I wasn't thinking about their life, their financial situation, their time, whether they were happy in their life or not, whether they were stressed, whether they even had time or inclination or self-belief in themselves to even follow through on the advice that I was giving them. And that's when I then realized that I needed to be able to help people I was working with more. And that's when I started using life coaching as well. And so the inclusion of life coaching and the metabolic typing, and kind of pulling on more of the natural health practices that I grew up with, like more using herbs, aromatherapy oils, those types of things, really allowed me to help people in a much bigger way. And the overall success that I was having with clients and myself, because when you become a life coach, when you start using life coaching, you are really encouraged to look at your own self and how you are a reflection of everybody around you and the people that you're attracting to you. So it was massive. It was massive for me, and it was a massive help to the people that I was working with as well. And then I slowly evolved into who I am now, which is the Naturally You coach. And what I do now as a Naturally You coach, as opposed to just focusing on people's food and only being concerned with that, what I aim to do is help people who are like me, which is mainly busy parents and professionals and business owners, to become nourished and fulfilled on every level, so that they can reach their potential no matter what. Aside from being the Naturally You coach, I'm also a mother of 5 children. I homeschool. We homeschool the 5 children. I'm married to an amazing man called Salmon, who's a graphic designer. So we have a pretty busy life. In the meantime, I'm also an author. I've written 6 books so far. I'm a raw food workshop facilitator. I do talks, I do other types of workshops. So, there's a lot going on in our lives, and a lot of the things that I do, I don't think I would have been able to do them if I hadn't worked on myself and put myself through the same steps that I put other people through, to help to get rid of the main excuses as to why people don't do things, like I don't have the time, I don't have the money, I don't believe that I can do it, and I don't know how to do it. So that's who I am in a nutshell. I'm the Naturally You coach, and that's how I help people to achieve their life and health goals in a natural way, so that they can be nourished and fulfilled on every level. Now, as far as holidays are concerned, I have experienced this holiday period wearing many different hats over the years. So, my holidays as a child. Now, I have a mother who's from Grenada and a father who's from Jamaica, and we predominantly spent our holidays with the Grenadian side of our family. And the only vegetables I ever remember at the holiday dinners were coleslaw and a few lettuce leaves and tomatoes. During the holidays as a child, I remember the alcohol flowing from the rum cake that was soaked in rum and wine for 3 months. There was always a big tin of chocolate somewhere. There was, massive pasta dishes and loads of rice and all these types of things. And there was turkey in the fridge for the next week. It was a very festive, kind of traditional holiday that I experienced as a child. Pretty much the same holiday that a lot of children today would experience. Nothing much has really changed in the way that people celebrate Christmas. There's always a lot of food. There's a particular type of food that's always eaten around this time of year. Health is never really a consideration. Whole natural foods is never really a consideration. And there's always an abundance of spending normally at this time of year as well. My holiday as a youth, as a teenager, was slightly different. I was vegetarian. I decided I wanted to become a vegetarian when I was about 11 years old. But to be honest, even though I was a teenager, the only real things that changed was that I would eat pretty much the same foods when I was at family's houses, apart from meat. So it was still everything but meat. And now I was drinking alcohol too. So I was pretty much still following the examples of celebrating the holiday seasons that I'd grown up with. And that the media and the supermarkets have instilled in us as being the normal way to celebrate Christmas. Loads of Christmas and holidays and, like the New Year's, this whole season. Loads of food, loads of alcohol, loads of spending money on gifts. I then became a wife and a mother. Now, I didn't celebrate Christmas when I was a wife and a mother. We celebrated something, we referred to it as Children's Day. But many of our family was, still celebrated traditional Christmas and New Year. And even though I was still health conscious, I was more health conscious at this stage, I kind of still had that set of ideals that I felt I had to fulfill as a mother during the kind of holiday period. Now, to be honest, our very first Christmas Day, Children's Day, as a mother or as parents was actually spent in the hospital. Our first child was born in March, and then our second child was born in November, but he was very premature, so by December he was still in the hospital. So we actually spent our first holiday, our first Christmas Day as parents in a hospital by our son's bedtime. Now this was actually quite, it's obviously going to be a Christmas or a Children's Day that I'm never actually going to forget. But it actually did impress upon me the importance of what this day and this time of year kind of represents for many people, and that a lot of us have grown up. And we weren't around the regular mad kind of crazy big celebratory festivities. We were with, the closest and most loved ones to us at the time. And I think that really helped kind of shape the way that I looked at this time of year moving forward as a mother. The second year that we spent together as as parents and with children was more stable. So I kind of had the opportunity, we were at home with the children and things like that. But I had so far never had anyone challenge the traditions of how you spend this holiday season. So I kind of still had it in my mind that, there is a way to celebrate this time of year, and it does involve loads of food, and there's particular types of food, and you can't not have those types of food around at this time. But now I had children, and I was very particular about what I wanted my children to eat, and I was becoming more particular about what I wanted to eat and how I wanted to live. So I literally at that point had to create a new tradition for myself. And this is probably the space where a lot of you that are listening now are at. You don't want to celebrate Christmas and the New Year the way that you normally do, and you want to change. And that's what I'm aiming to help you give you ideas of how you can do things differently this year so that you don't have to kind of keep going with the regular tradition that we're being fed about how this time of year should be celebrated. Now, things have progressed a lot since, I had my second and more stable Christmas Children's Day celebration, where I had to kind of create a new situation for myself, because there are a lot more kind of examples of people that celebrate vegan or vegetarian or even raw vegan and paleo Christmas dinners and New Year's celebrations and things like that. But even though there's more examples of them out there, they can still seem a bit remote until you decide you are going to commit to doing them yourself as well. So you are lucky insofar as there are a lot more resources there around for you now than I had when I decided to make the change. But what I'm going to help you to do is kind of really solidify in your mind and take the practical steps that you need to make sure that you can follow a new way of eating and a new way of living over this holiday period. Now, my holidays as the Naturally You coach are completely different. I'm much more settled into our life as a parent, the way that we eat. And basically around this time of year, nothing majorly changes. We don't, our children in particular will still eat the same wholesome foods that they normally do, no matter where we go. And I'll show you how we do that and how you can do that as well. How this time of year doesn't need to be a time of year where everything changes just because it's this time of year. Now, there are some obvious highs and lows of this holiday period. And there are some expressions that you're likely to hear around this time of year, especially if you're trying to make changes. Some people will and there's a big difference between saying just the one and, oh, chill out, it's fine, it's only for the holiday. So I'm going to explain. Now, the holiday highs, the great things about this time of year, whether you kind of celebrate these celebrations specifically or not, one of the good things about this time of year is that it is a time when loved ones do come together more. You do get time off work. There is a big focus on family time, which is great. People will tend to reflect on the year because they're coming to, the 1st of January. And people will plan for the future. They'll plan how they want to live their next year. Now, in the midst of this, you may decide to have something small, like a slice of pudding or a glass of wine, or, buying a few special gifts for some special people. Things that don't create massive stress, things that don't lead you to feel very guilty, things that are not going to make you go bankrupt, things that are not going to make you feel really anxious, and all of these negative feelings that you end up wanting to drown out with, 3 bottles of mulled wine or push to the back of your mind until the 1st of January. They're very, they're just very one-off things that still kind of keep you in control and allow you to enjoy this time of year without kind of completely going off the rails. Now, the downsides, the massive downsides of this time of year is things like the social pressure of looking really good. And people will do things like crash dieting for the Christmas or New Year's parties. There is obviously the heavy drinking that a lot of people commit to. And sometimes that's because everybody else is doing it. There is the mindset of just throwing all commitments that you've made to yourself out of the window and saying anything goes because you just get caught up in the spirit of things. And remember, not all spirits are good. Now, the other thing is that during this time of year, misery loves company. So there are other people who are around you who want an excuse to kind of fall off the diet that they've been on, that they hate at this time of year, which is why I really dislike most diets as much as most of you all do. So people that want to kind of fall off the wagon of the diet that they hate at this time of year, they'll also encourage everybody else around them to do the same thing, just so that they, you know, like they'll encourage you to kind of loosen up and not commit to anything so that they don't feel bad when they're overindulging around you. There is also the other low of this time of year, which is just a really stressful consumerism that's, you know, people feeling forced to buy gifts to show love, whether they want to or not, and whether they can afford to or not. So those are some of the highs and lows of this holiday period. Now, here are some of the keys to holiday success. The first key is to affirm, my holiday will be. The second key is your holiday planner. This is super, super important. I'm going to go through this with you in a minute. The next key is to create a toolkit. Now, the first thing is your affirmation. My holiday will be. Now, to create this, now these are practical steps. This is not just stuff you just listen to and then get on with your life. This is actually like a workshop. I actually want you to seriously do this, like get a pen and paper, stop the video, actually do these steps, because they actually will make a difference and they really will allow you to have a different experience this year. Now, the first thing you do is affirm in your mind clearly what health goal you're currently working on or that you'd like to start, and literally see yourself living that way over the holidays. So some of you are already on a path and you just don't want to break that path over the holidays, and others people are, you know, every single day every day you wake up is another opportunity to change the way that you're living and you're thinking. So you may decide you want to start something now. So you may decide, I'm sugar-free this year, or I'm dairy-free this year, or I'm vegan, or high raw, or sober, or rested this year. You may decide that you're thankful and content this year. You may decide that you're calm and peaceful this year. And you can, of course, have, you know, choose more than one. So I'm dairy-free, sugar-free, and vegan this year. However you want to see yourself, whatever goal, or health path that you want to stick to this year, affirm that. Create a sentence, an affirmation that you say to yourself that says what it is that you want to be this year. Now, while you say this, I want you to clearly see yourself living that way. So while you're in this visualization, and literally this will take a few minutes to just kind of sit down and do this, I want you to see what it looks like to be that way. So if you say to yourself, I'm sugar-free this year, I want you to see yourself politely saying, no thanks, I'm fine, when you're being offered Christmas pudding or mince pies. If your affirmation is, or you've decided that I'm rested this year, so you might have had a really hectic year, you know that the lack of sleep and you being very busy this year has contributed to you not being as healthy as you could do, and you could decide, you know what, this holiday, which is always a busy time of year, I'm going to be rested this year. You can literally see yourself not rushing around the shops, the shopping centres, the supermarkets with like 20 bags of shopping, 10 of which are possibly impulse buys, and maybe not committing to every social engagement and instead sitting at home in your pajamas for a few days. Whatever it is that you decide you want to be this holiday, affirm it in a sentence and see yourself doing it. Now, the next thing, which is super important to holiday success, is your holiday planner. Now, this is key. This is the key tool to create a fun and healthy holiday this year. So after your mindset is affirmed, so you've decided what it is you want to create, the holiday you want to create, so you're calm, you're thankful, you're sugar-free, you're vegan, that's your mindset. Once you've got your mind fixed on what you want, you can create a plan to achieve it. So the first thing you do, and literally this is something I actually want you to do, pen and paper in hand, all that kind of stuff. You can pause the video, get a pen and paper if you need to, listen to the whole video and then come back to this point so you can put your plans together. So the step one is to note down what you already know you're going to be doing on each day of the holiday. So you can literally get a piece of paper, write the dates from the last day you're at work, or, you know, whenever your kind of holiday period starts, to the day before you go back to work, or the last day that your kind of holiday period ends. So note down each of those days on a piece of paper, and then note down next to each day what you already know you're going to be doing. So you may already know you're going to grandma's for Christmas Day, you're at somebody's house the day before, you're at aunt's house on Boxing Day, you've got a few days off, and then you're at this person's house on New Year's Eve. Write down what you already know you're going to be doing over the holidays. Then, for each outing, think what you're going to need to do to stick to your goal during it while still having fun. Social isolation is not the point of all this, or feeling uncomfortable or awkward is not fun at all for you or for anybody else, but there is a way to approach the holidays so that this won't happen while you stick to your decision. So for example, if you are due to visit family and all the usual foods are going to be there, but you want to be gluten-free, for example, over the holidays, decide what you would like to eat on that day, like something really special that you would like to eat on that day. Make enough of that for yourself and others and bring it to that occasion to share with everyone, and make it really fancy, so it's almost like a gift that you're bringing, but one which keeps you gluten-free and still able to enjoy the day. And, you know, bring a few things if you really need to, so that you're not left hungry or thirsty at any point and end up resorting to something that you don't want to eat or drink that's there. Now, everywhere we go with the children, I bring their foods with them if I don't know for definite that there will be food there that they can eat. If it's a celebration, I'll normally make them cakes that they can eat and bring with them, so that when everybody else is having like sugar-laden cakes or cakes with wheat or milk or whatever, my babies are tucking into like raw vegan chocolate bars or sugar-free spelt cupcakes with strawberries, or like raw vegan mango pies or other yummy stuff that I know that they like. I also have like a mental list of foods that I can buy that are available in most shops if I don't get the chance to make something beforehand, like a simple fruit salad. So there was once my babies, I call them babies, like the oldest is 9 and the youngest is 2, but I still call them my babies. So there was a celebration we went to. I didn't get a chance to make stuff before. While everybody else was having cake, my babies had like a whole mango each. I just went to the shop across the road. It was like a groceries, and they had mangoes. I bought them a mango each, and they just sat there eating through this mango, and people were literally looking at them with envy, like, wow. Simple stuff like that. It does not have to be rocket science. It doesn't have to take hours and years and cost a whole load of money. I'm so in the habit of doing it. I've just created a mental list of things that I'm happy for the children to eat and that I'm not. Sometimes I'm more relaxed than others, but there are certain things that they just will never have. They know that they can never have them. Most people that we visit know what it is that they can eat. And my family is also very accommodating because we've stuck to this for such a long time. So most of my family kind of know what it is that we eat. And they also know that I'm probably going to bring stuff for my children to eat if I haven't already kind of spoken to them about it. And the more you stick to your commitments and get into the habit of doing this, so if this is the first time you're doing it, it's not going to be as easy as it is for me because I'm just used to doing it. But the more you stick to it, the easier it becomes. So this may be the first holiday that you're doing it. And if you think back hard enough, there may have been holidays or occasions before where you've done this similar thing, but it's just not something that you kind of put a lot of thought around. So if you have examples of when you've done it before, that's great because you can kind of, go back to that time and just remember how it was. But if this is the first time, planning beforehand is going to be so key, especially kind of in these beginning stages. So don't skip this bit. And don't leave it till don't leave it till the last minute either. Don't skip the planning bit. Just, you've got a few more weeks, or, depending on when you're listening to this, you've at least got a couple of weeks now between now and when the holiday starts to kind of do this little bit of planning, just to make this holiday the healthiest holiday that you've had. So afterwards, you don't have all those regrets that people normally have, or that you may be used to having afterwards because you've, eaten and drank things that you just were not happy with. You can also kind of mentally prepare for the days when you're happy to just have one of something, and then, do something the next day to kind of balance it out. So literally, you will have this on your plan. You're going to be going to somebody's house in the evening, and you're not going to really bring anything with you because you don't mind kind of having whatever is there on that particular occasion. So you may fully intend on having a drink or some pudding or some mince pies or whatever it is. Then on the next day, put in a green smoothie or a green juice or a trip to the gym or swimming or something the day after to get you back on track ASAP. The third thing that you can do is, once you've written down all the things that you've committed to doing, you can also then decide if you need to rethink any of your plans that don't align with your affirmation. So there could be some things that you've said you're going to do, or that you're thinking about doing, you've kind of confirmed them in your mind, that you now look at them like, that's actually not something that I want to do. If I've affirmed to be rested, my affirmation is I'm going to be rested, this is just not in any way, shape or form going to be a restful situation, and I don't mind missing it. So, you can look at your plan in advance and decide, okay, maybe that's not something that I want to do. And you can kind of plan to cancel that appointment or change it for something else. It might be something you committed to do with your children, and it's not going to be something that's going to be, beneficial to any of you. So you could change it and replace it with something that is going to be more in alignment with, the things that you're deciding this year. The next thing is to create your toolkit. So decide from now which of the following things you need to either find or keep handy or create to make all of this possible. Online shopping. Now, if you don't want to traipse around the shops, if you don't want to get caught up in the impulse buying, if you don't want to get tired out so that you can enjoy the time that you've got with your children while they're off school, or family that are coming around, etc., then jump online, find websites where you can buy stuff, create an account with some of the supermarkets, or, whatever websites you can go to buy gifts or food around this time of year, so you can spend more time and with your family and friends and not kind of get caught up in things that are outside so much. Tupperware. If you want to bring your own foods and drinks with you, you need to buy Tupperware. If you're anything like me, you might have a whole load of containers that don't have lids. That is not the... You need to buy containers that have got lids. You can't make all this stuff. Yes, I'm going to bring all these things with me, and then you have nothing to actually transport them in when you're about to leave. So they can be bog standard, or they can be really fancy schmancy. Just make sure that you always have something to carry your foods around with if, eating is a specific part of what you want to change this year. Recipes. If you don't know what to make that's gluten-free or paleo or sugar-free or vegan to replace your traditional festive dinner, now's the time to find the recipes and the ingredients to replace them. So don't wait till 3 days before. Start finding them now, and even practice making them before the day, so that if they don't turn out well, you can adjust them now, so that when you're actually making them on the day, they taste great. Studying. Now, knowing why you're doing all of this, you probably already did some form of research when you've decided to make the change that you're committing to over the holidays. But doing a bit of research, even if that's just 20 minutes on YouTube or a quick Google search, into the benefits of the change that you're making and how great you will be because of it, can really help you stick to the decision when you get tempted or when things get difficult around this time of year. And repeating your affirmation, that short affirmation, and replaying the visualization that I was asking you to do in your mind of being the new you during this holiday can really help you get through any difficult times of the holiday. So those are kind of the tools, the things that you're going to be able to use to keep you on track. If all of this kind of planning at an already busy time of year for most seems a bit over the top, let me again impress this upon you. The danger of not planning all this, and the plannings can literally take like 10 minutes a few times between now and, you know, the main holiday period, depending on obviously when you're listening to this video. If you're listening to it like on Christmas Day, then I can't help you much right now. But the danger of not planning all this is having to make last minute on the spot decisions about stuff when you're in the swing of celebrations and you've got nothing with you to replace the things that you vowed to avoid this holiday. And if you're then you're going to almost feel forced just through lack of preparation to do what you promised yourself you didn't want to do. And then you're going to end up regretting it later and end up miserable and possibly hungry for sticking to your decision. If you decide, okay, I've decided I'm not going to have it and I'm not going to have it, but then you don't have anything with you to replace it, so then you could possibly end up like miserable and hungry for sticking because you've decided to stick to your decision. And that's absolutely no fun for anyone at all. And when you've got those kind of bad memories of having, you know, a healthy holiday, it's not going to be something you rush to do again, because you're just going to have this bad, I didn't prepare and then I was hungry and there's nothing that I could eat and it was just, I'm just never doing that again. But all of this is easily avoided with a little planning. Now, people always kind of ask, okay, well, what kind of things can I replace at this time of year? You don't actually have to necessarily always find exact replacements. You don't need to find like a vegetarian turkey or, you know, like soya turkey strips. Like, you don't have to do those types of things. You can literally just find fun or exciting or just interesting and different and special meals and recipes that you can have at this time of year. So things like stuffed peppers, a vegetable shepherd's pie, coconut lentils and sweet pea mash, roast salmon with sweet potatoes and rocket. You can have like tropical cheesecakes, mango pie, seafood pie, kale and mango salad, perfectly steamed greens, so not the really horribly soggy Brussels sprouts and those types of things, chocolate mousses and ice creams that are like vegan, a raw vegan apple crumble and macadamia nut cream. And then this definitely includes New Year celebrations as well. So if you want to stay sober or completely alcohol free this year, the drink in your hand during the, you know, countdown, or, you know, Christmas drinks or whatever, could be a freshly pressed sparkling apple juice with lime and ginger and those types of things, or a pina colada type drink, which is like pineapple juice, lime, bananas and coconut milk all blended up. You could have like a homemade pink lemonade, and definitely some green juices and smoothies just to, you know, get you back on track after any imbalances, or like as a morning, something you would have during the morning if you're gonna be going somewhere where you've decided you're not gonna particularly be mindful of what you're eating on that day. Just having a good nutrient boost of, you know, green juices and green smoothies around this time, because it's not something that people necessarily think about doing. But it is really going to be helpful because they are energizing. As long as you balance the nutrient, you know, the ingredients out well enough for you, they're energizing. They can be quite filling if you're having them, you know, at the right times and you're not kind of starving yourself and only having a green juice or only having a green smoothie, and nothing else for long periods of time. They can, you know, and again, it's just a big nutrient boost, especially at this time of year when a lot of bugs are going around, and if you're in a colder climate, you may be more susceptible to them. So it's also a good thing to always kind of have around on the menu. Now, holiday gift ideas. Now this year, one of the things you might want to do is spread the kind of naturally healthy goodness around by incorporating it in your gift giving too. So obviously you're not trying to turn anyone into a vegan warrior or a, you know, Greenpeace activist, But you can make your gifts things that you know your loved ones are going to enjoy, that are healthy too, and you can cut costs with many health conscious options. So you can do things like making homemade bread as a gift, a big batch of homemade cookies, a big homemade cake, homemade snacks or special drinks, all wrapped up in really pretty dishes, are super cost effective, but they're very personal gifts as well. Plus, you can make the healthiest versions of these things so that your loved ones can kind of sample the healthy life. And they are super cost effective when you make homemade kind of meals and dress them up really prettily. You can get people like a hamper of really quality cooking ingredients. So if you've got friends or relatives that complain about the price of healthy foods, again, buy some quality items, put them in a fancy basket, and Bob's your auntie's living lover. That is a super fun, gorgeous gift that you can give anyone, and I can't imagine they won't be smiling from ear to ear. Natural skin and hair care products, so things like shea butter and coconut oil, essential oils, are not incredibly expensive at all, but they're amazing for your health, and they're really thoughtful gifts. And there are a lot of Christmas and Kwanzaa kind of gift fairs that are happening. So just this weekend on the 14th is the UK Naturals pop-up shop. I know they're going to be having gift baskets there. There's the Black Baby Show Kwanzaa Fair, which I think is the day before. They're going to have loads of companies that are going to be selling kind of gift type items there. So you can definitely get kind of natural hair and skincare products at these places. You can get people vouchers for organic produce deliveries like Riverford Organic or Abel and Cole, Gray's Box. I know in America you've got Nature Boxes. Or you can get gift vouchers for natural health shops. And that can be on and offline, because there's many small and local businesses that you can get kind of £5 or £10 or £20 gift vouchers for, and give that as a gift to friends and family who again say that, you know, they maybe can't afford natural health stuff. You can also get vouchers towards equipment. So if you know somebody wants to buy a juicer or blender or food processor or a NutriBullet or something like that, you can get them vouchers towards them being able to buy those kind of things. You can also get amazing deals on Groupon and Voucher and Living Social for things like aromatherapy massages and, you know, other types of complementary therapies that are very thoughtful gifts for people. If you know people are interested in different areas of natural health, you could maybe find a book or a DVD on that particular area that they would be interested in. And those are just a few ideas. So I'm sure you can think of more, whether it's, you know, natural cloth nappies for someone who's expecting a baby, or a moon cup or a diva cup for one of your girlfriends who you know wants to stop using regular sanitary pads and tampons. The list is endless. Another cool tip is to wait until after the celebrations have died down and get things even cheaper in the Boxing Day sales and the January sales and those types of things, because most people don't mind getting their gifts the day after or the week after or even 2 weeks after. And if that means it helps you from overspending and it keeps things more in your budget, then it's going to be beneficial for both of you. I strongly recommend that you do your best to avoid going broke or getting into debt at this time of year. This type of stress can literally make you sick with worry long after the celebrations have died down. And it's oftentimes done, you know, the overspending that we do at this time of year is oftentimes done to look good in front of people who should really care for us, whether we buy them fancy things or not. Give from the heart this year with no guilt. Stick to the goals and the affirmations that you've set yourself, and keep those at the forefront of your mind. Now, if at this point you're still not sure what to do over the next few weeks, and you still need more help to kind of create and put together and piece together and plan your healthy holiday, then one of the things I would like to offer anyone listening to this call between the 10th and the 19th of December is a 30 to 45 minute healthy holiday planning session at just £19. So I'll send you a healthy holiday questionnaire to complete. You send me back the answers, including your holiday questions or concerns, and then we'll get on the phone for 30 to 45 minutes and get you so excited about celebrating this holiday in a naturally healthy way that you can hardly wait for the holiday to start. So you can book your session by just clicking the link underneath the video wherever this video is posted. Now, as of today, there are still a few of the discounted books, some of my books that are on offer in the new Starting Over book sale that you can grab on my site, which is thenaturallyyoucoach.com. That can also help you kind of get on track during this holiday. And they also make great gifts, low cost gifts that already come gift wrapped and signed and that type of thing for friends and loved ones over this period. I really do hope you found the information in this video useful. If you do have any questions or about what we've spoken about in this video, or about booking one of the healthy holiday sessions with me, feel free to get in touch with Leah at thenaturallyyoucoach.com. Remember, you can also find me on Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest or Instagram. Just search for Leah Salmon or The Naturally You Coach. I really hope you found the information in this video useful. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Take care.